All right, Shane, we're going into week 8. Week 7 is now over, and most of our Class 1A and Class 2A state rankings pretty much stayed the same as far as teams that won. We did see a little bit of movement. Really, the biggest losses were in Class 1A, where our number 3 ranked team, Brown County, lost to Camp Point Central in pretty much a one-sided game there, 28-8. And then Aurora Christian, who is in Class 2A, lost to another 6A school in St. Ignatius, 28-12. But outside of that, the rest of the top 10 really much stayed the same.
Right, and that really kind of shows you that you're getting a true top 10, in my opinion. When your top 10 team wins, I mean, that kind of tells you that they're where they belong. Yeah, that Aurora Christian loss is what it is. You know, obviously we start talking about we had the same talks with St. Teresa last year as to where they should be playing and where they're not. And then on 1A, that Brown County loss, that's a bad loss, but see how it goes.
It is, but, you know, Camp Point Central is one of those teams you can't overlook them. I mean, they came into that game with a 4-2 record. I think one of their losses was early in the season. It was really a team that they probably should not have lost to begin with, but Camp Point's a little bit more of that pound it down your throat type team, and Brown County is generally a wing T type of team, but they're a little bit softer than they have been in years past as far as trying to go more to a spread type game, or at least they still stay in a wing type formation for the most part, but they're throwing the ball around a little bit more than what they have in the past. But they still have a very good running back down there in Devin Tynan as well. So, but yeah, big win for Camp Point Central. Congrats to Coach Brad Dixon and his Panthers for getting that big win. Looking into Class 2A, that loss by Aurora Christian, you know, that loss probably will set them up with a 5-4 record. And I'm telling you what, that could be one hell of a matchup come first round if they do go 5-4. And wouldn't that be something if they'd have to travel to Sterling to play Newman?
Well, that would be something. So I'm thinking that if you're a Newman fan, you're kind of wanting Dakota to beat EPC this week, kind of put them at 5-4 as well. Yeah, you don't want to see Aurora Christian on your schedule at any point this year, especially in the 2A field. I mean, we've seen this time and time again. I mean, where a team falls where they have no business falling and just run the table.
Right, but I mean, Aurora Christian's playing within the rules. I mean, they still
rules.
have that multiplier. The only thing is, you know, it's coached by the BBs. And they have their own camps. So you know that certain invitations of saying, hey, why don't you come to our school, probably might be taking place. You don't see that in the Catholic schools in our area like Ackwen or Newman. But when you have a lot more prominent area to recruit from, and I'm using the word recruit loosely, but it's very easy to say, hey, you know, what school do you go to? Oh, I go to Brother Joe. All right, well, why don't you come here to Aurora Christian?
Yeah, we'll call you private, and you won't feel bad about going. So
right,
it is what it is.
So we'll get into our state rankings, but keep in mind to sign up for our YouTube channel. Just hit the subscription button, and once you do, go ahead and hit the bell right next to it as well so you can be alerted with all of our videos as soon as we get those posted. And our Class 1A and 2A rankings are coming right now. Okay, so Class 1A and 2A state rankings, as usual, we're going to start off with our Class 1A rankings. I'll go ahead and start here. And at number 1, I have Lena Winslow as they come in with a 7-0 record. At number 2, I have followed up, as has been for quite a while now, Forston. They come in with that 6-1 record. My number 3 spot's a big jump as I moved Red Hill up a couple spots to number 3 as they come in with a 7-0 record. At number 4, I have the Crusaders of Marquette with a 6-1 record. Number 5 is where I put the Athens Warriors as they come in with a 6-1 record as well. Followed by, at number 6, Anawan Wethersfield as the Titans also move to 6-1. At number 7, I have the Steamers of Fulton with their 5-2 mark. And at number 8, I have the Carrollton Hawks as they do improve to 7-0. Number 9, I have Princeville as they moved to 6-1, and coming in at number 10, making their way back into my state rankings, are the Dakota Indians as they improved to 6-1.
Very nice, Kyle. I think this is the third or fourth week in a row now we've had the same top 10 teams, which kind of shows that we're on the same page as well of the talent within the state. My number one team, as it's been for quite a while now, the Forest Cardinals, one spot ahead of Lena Winslow. After that head-to-head matchup, even didn't go Forreston's way. My number 3 team, Ottawa Marquette, followed by number 4, Carrollton, a little different placing than where Kyle had them. Number 5, Red Hill. 6, Anawan Wethersfield. 7, like Kyle said, at 6-1, Athens. Number 8, Fulton, followed by Princeville, and also my number 10 team would be the Dakota Indians as well. I think we'll see that kind of be the norm as far as our top 10 teams keep winning.
Yeah, I mean, like we said, we're starting to see a lot of consistency in the top 10, and they just, like you said, they keep winning. So
it's hard to move somebody out when they don't lose.
Right, and you start looking at where to move them with competition and whatnot. So as far as our panel votes go, at number 1, we have Lena Winslow at 7-0 after they beat Mooseheart 54-7. Number 2 is Forreston at 6-1 after they beat Galena 48-7. And number 3 is Marquette as they improved to 6-1 with their 66-0 win over River Valley. At number 4 is Carrollton as they moved to 7-0 with their 60-7 win over North Green. At number 5 is Red Hill as they also improved to 7-0 after they beat Casey Westfield 52-20. Coming in at number 6 are the Warriors of Athens after they beat North Mac 35-15. And at number 7 is Anawan Wethersfield with their 55-6 win over Cambridge Ridgewood to also move to 6-1. At number 8 are the Fulton Steamers with their 5-2 record after they beat Riverdale 34-7. At number 9 is Princeville as they moved to 6-1 after beating Rova 43-0. And coming in at number 10 is Brown County as they dropped to 6-1 after that loss to Camp Point Central 28-8. At number 11 we have Dakota at 6-1 after they beat Amboy 47-6. Number 12 is Decatur Lutheran with their 6-1 record. They beat Cerro Gordo 31-6. And number 13 is a big jump for Camp Point Central with their win over previously mentioned Brown County 28-8. And number 14 is Warrensburg Latham. Shane, this is a team that I'm really impressed with despite their 4-3 record. They come back out. They beat Macon Meridian 55-7. You think about their 3 losses. You got a loss to number 5, 3A to St. Teresa. A loss to Tuscola, who is ranked in 1A or 2A, depending on the polls. And then a loss to Shelbyville, who's been in the 1A or 2A rankings, depending on the polls as well.
Yeah, your 3 losses don't really get you any better than that. I mean, those are some top-notch teams.
And they were all in those games.
So, I mean, that they look to be a force in the South.
Yeah.
For sure.
And at number 15, we have Ackwen with the 6-1 record as they beat River Ridge 40-20. Okay, so our Class 2A rankings is going to go as follows. For myself, at number 1, I have Sterling Newman as they moved to 7-0. Number 2, West Hancock, they also moved to 7-0. Number 3, Gibson City, Melvin Sibley, also undefeated at 7-0. At number 4, Rockridge, they are now 6-1. Or have been 6-1 since that loss to Newman. At number 5, I have the Tuscola Warriors as they also improved to 7-0. They had a big win last week over St. Teresa. Whew. Number 6, Shelbyville as they improved to 6-1. Their only blemish coming to previously mentioned Tuscola. Number 7, Maroa Forsyth as they moved to 6-1. Tri-Valley moves to 6-1. They come in at number 8 for me. At number 9, I have the Orion Chargers. They're also 6-1. And rounding out my top 10, Shane, I have Westville as they improve to 7-0.
Very good. So we don't have the same teams on 2A though. So
most of them are.
Most of them are. But yeah, I think actually they are, aren't they?
No, we do have the same teams.
All right, just a little bit of different order.
Yes.
Number 1, Sterling Newman. Been there all year, really. Followed by Wes Hancock at number 2. Number 3 team, GCMS. 4, Tuscola off their big win. I really haven't moved them in the last 3 weeks now, so wasn't really rewarded from that when your top 3 teams also win. Number 5, Rockridge. My number 6 team, Monroe Forsyth. Number 7, Westville. 8, Shelbyville, followed by Tri-Valley and like Kyle bringing Orion into the top 10 in 2A as well. So pretty solid 10 teams on both sides, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, just a little bit different order there. I think you did move Tuscola up 1 spot for their win over St. Teresa. I think you just flip-flopped them with Rockridge. But outside, I mean, good call, really. I mean,
yeah, I mean, Rockridge's loss, I mean, was to Newman, and that was a close. I mean, Rockridge is a quality team.
Yeah.
They're, realistically, all 10 of these, you could, I mean, some of them are pretty set where they're at, but a couple of them could be moved around, and there's really no argument to be made.
No, exactly. I mean, and you got to reward Tuscola. They did come out on the top end to stay undefeated in their matchup with St. Teresa.
And we did drop Aurora Christian out of our top 10,
yes.
But obviously that's because they lost. So
they lost. We anticipate them going 5-4. They're actually at number 11 in my personal poll.
Right.
So I still see them being a huge player in the Class 2A playoffs.
They get in, and it's going to be bad for 2A.
I mean, who knows? Some of these other teams, you know, I can easily see Westville, Orion, probably Tri-Valley and Maroa not being able to give Aurora Christian a game.
Right.
I would even say Tuscola probably would be in that picture, Shelbyville. Really, about your top 3 teams I could see potentially giving Aurora Christian a game. But you never know. They are a passing team.
See,
weather happens.
We've seen that time and time again.
Yeah.
You know.
Passing teams fail when it comes to November.
Passing is good in August, September, and parts of October. But that's about it.
November, it becomes a challenge unless you are physical and can run the ball.
Right.
So, all right, our panel Class 2A. At number 1, we have Sterling Newman, 7-0 after they beat Hall 48-16. West Hancock came in at 7-0 at number 2 with their 46-8 win over South Beloit. And at number 3 is GCMS with their 7-0 record after they beat Colfax Ridgeview 47-0. Coming in, number 4 is Rockridge with their 6-1 record. They beat Bureau Valley 54-14. And at number 5 is Tuscola, as we mentioned. They beat St. Teresa, who was ranked number 5 in Class 3A, 24-21 to improve to 7-0. And number 6 is Westville. They beat Bismarck-Henning, who happened to be in our top 20 in a rather close game. They won that game 19-14 to improve to 7-0. Shelbyville moves to 6-1 as they beat Clinton 40-0. Monroe Forsyth comes in at number 8 with their 6-1 record. They beat Riverton 43-13. Tri-Valley is at number 9 with their win over Fisher. Orion comes in at number 10 with their win over Morrison 35-7. Number 11, Aurora Christian. Number 12, El Dorado. Number 13 is Fieldcrest. 14 is West Carroll. And rounding out our top 15 is Chicago Hope. Okay, so now we're going to go to our NUIC Power 5. Shane, I think we're going to see a little bit of movement here as we did have some games that took place that kind of changed some outcomes around. And I think there's some upcoming games that could potentially be seen as upsets, so to speak, within the next 2 weeks. As I start seeing, me personally, I'm starting to see some teams become stronger as the year wears on than where they were at the beginning of the year.
Right.
Likewise, some of those top teams are starting to digress. So my Power 5 for the NUIC at number 1, I'm sticking with Lena Winslow with their 7-0 record. At number 2, Forreston, as they continue to dominate with the 6-1 record. Their only blemish coming back in week 2 to Lena Winslow. Number 3, I bring in the Dakota Indians. They make their way back into my NUIC Power 5 this week as they improve to 6-1. At number 4, after their big win over EPC, is West Carroll as they improve to 5-2. And coming in at number 5 for me, new to my Power 5 all season long, are the Stockton Blackhawks. They improved to 5-2.
Yeah, that's, your Power 5 is great. And what I really like about this, is we'll get to that in a minute, but I think every one of our panel members has a different Power 5. So, that just shows you realistically the power within the conference, which is great.
Definitely.
My Power 5, number 1, again, Forreston, followed by Lena Winslow. Flip-flop them, do whatever you want. They're about equal. Number 3, like you, Kyle, the Dakota Indians, followed by 4 as well, West Carroll. And my number 5 team would be the Akron Bulldogs at this point. Obviously, nothing wrong with picking Stockton, as we're going to see that matchup here real quick,
this week.
Exactly. So that's something we're really looking forward to seeing, and we'll for sure have some more shifting within a Power 5 again, I think.
And that game here is going to be just like it was, and we'll get to this on our next segment, but that game's going to be very similar to last year, where you can see the conference title on the line in Week 8, and ironically, it was the exact same as last year.
Right. Because even with Stockton's 2 losses, they're still undefeated. Still undefeated in the conference, so that's what matters. So,
all right, our panel Power 5 Shane is going to go as such. At number 1 remains the Lena Winslow Panthers, and followed at number 2 are the Forreston Cardinals. Our next 3 are going to be a new order. At number 3 are the Dakota Indians, as we said, moved to 6-1. At number 4, the Missiles of Milledgeville remain in our Power 5 as they also punch their ticket to the road to DeKalb as they improved to 6-1. And coming in at number 5 is West Carroll. They've kind of been hanging on in our Power 5 here for a couple weeks. They had that big win over EPC. And with that did drop EPC out of our Power 5 for the first time all year. So West Carroll at 5-2.
Yeah, West Carroll, it's one of those teams that started off the season good with a respectable loss to the best team in the conference, in my opinion.
Best team in the state.
Right. They're there. You're sitting at 6-2. Right. 5-2.
5-2. Yeah.
My bad. 5-2. They'll get to 6-2 and 6-3 ultimately, based on where we might see them going. So, that's great for West Carroll.
It is, and I think when we see the projections come out this week, you'll see a much better projection as far as their first round opponent. Yeah. One that could potentially see West Carroll getting into the second round. I'm not going to say quarters, but there's always that possibility. Obviously, they just proved games aren't won on paper. We know that. You have to go out and you have to play the game. If games were played on paper, Orangeville loses yesterday as well. So.
Right. And like you said, we don't want to talk about the quarters yet, but you avoid Sterling Newman, that Aurora Christian matchup. Anything's possible as far as I'm concerned with West Carroll playing a good, close game. So
I agree. All right, so that gives you a look at what our Class 1A and Class 2A rankings are going to look like as we move into Week 8, as well as our NUIC Power 5. Shane, we got some good competition coming up here this week. Clearly, the Akron-Stockton game, as you mentioned, is going to be a top ticket to be at. West Carroll and Forreston is also this week, which is going to be another good game. And then you got Dakota and EPC. So we're going to see some shifting not only in our Power 5, but this could potentially bring some shifting in our Class 1A and 2A rankings as well.
Right. And like we said a couple minutes ago, as you move another week forward, you add a few more percentage points to the confidence level and those projections, which is ultimately what we're trying to get to,
Yeah.
Coaches around the state are kind of putting their board together, trying to figure things out. You got it on a map, whether you got some push pins, deciding which teams are already at that 6-7 win mark. You're breaking down the enrollments, trying to figure out who's going to be in, who's not going to be in. It's fun.
It is. It's a blast. People don't take a lot in projections, but honestly, there is a lot you can look at because you see some of these teams and you start looking at where they're at record-wise, and you look at what they have for remaining opponents, and it's like it's a given. Hey, they're going to go 9-0 or 8-1. You can basically pencil some of these in already and say that's guaranteed.
Right. The projections at this point are a lot better than they were 2 weeks ago. You got 2 games left.
Right.
And projecting 1A is a lot easier than projecting 6A. So,
Yes.
I mean, you're at the bottom. You take the first 32 teams that win with the smallest enrollment. There you go.
Yeah.
So,
and then collectively, even going into 2A, you can basically do the same thing.
Right, exactly. So
you just roll up the next 32.
Yeah.
Bingo.
And based on our lack of 9-0 teams, I mean, you don't have to worry about a lot of 5 and 4 matchups with 9-0s.
Well, that's just it. I mean, last year there was 38 9-0 teams in the state playoffs. Right now, going into week 8, there's 35, and we got 2 more that are going to square off against each other this week. So you're going to be down to 34 for sure.
Right.
At the end of week 8.
Yeah. So.
And then of course the amount, especially in Class 1A, of teams that are going to be at that 5 and 4.
What we see on 9-0. So.
Right. So. Yeah, there's a lot of parity going on here, but should make for a great week of football. As always, root for the NUIC.